Because speaking of Tagalog dub in recent memory, not Trece, mentioned in the Trece podcast episode, Dota.
Click the link below.
Dota.
Yes, I guess I think it's harder for us because the level of the script writing, we need to match it with the
Our language is just too
long.
long.
our newer generation, because what is happening is they're still sticking with a teleserie script writing, and that's bad, really bad. So, and it's also hard if we also put borrowed words. It's kind of weird if you put it in a Tagalog dub, right? So
Wait,
You're-
if the argument is we can't do any borrowed words like English, then what's preventing Japanese?
From borrowing English words so much.
They can
But-
borrow it.
that they
but
localize with the usu and the...
yes, but it's localized, right? It's not like for example, if they use energy, let's say it's energy, right? It's still
Revenge.
revenge, right? So it sounds Japanese, but they know it's a borrowed word. But for
us, it does. For them,
yeah,
it might
but
not.
for
be.
us, since we have, if you allow me to call this again, if you believe or not, I think us Filipinos have more keener sense for accents. I don't know, like it. I mean, what's the difference of kaka-computer mo yan versus like I don't know. I mean, do we have a word that sounds Tagalog with computer?
No.
No, right? So I think there are exemptions in the rule, but there are other things like expressions. For example, we can use I think calvario, right? Yeah, you can use that. So we can but it's a slang. Calvario means problema. Oh, like if like, oh my god, that's a problem. Oh, calvario, yeah, something like that. They would at first they would laugh, but if you normalize it, right? If you get certain words that will represent Tagalog accents or language, that's the first step. We don't need those stage acts, I guess, that will represent Filipino. What do you call this again? Kung sabagat. And like the people will like hear you. What the hell is that, right?
Yeah, my nose is
I
bleeding.
think it's depending on the context.
Right.
If it's so modern, yes, let's have adaptive verbs. And it's like, let's say, Dota. Yes, let's say, subalit, dapat what? And so on.
Yes, it's like cringe.
Maybe it's because it's supposed to be Elven language. That's why it's so deep.
No, it doesn't. There's so many Elven animes that they don't have to be that deep. It is really more on the script of the Japanese. If they really refer to that, like how did they speak to this? So usually they have this formal language if it's like talking to their bosses. Usually if there's a hierarchy, but not everything, right? So if you think about it, let's say there's an anime of do you want to smoke or do you have a smoke? Are we really going to say gusto mo ba ng sigarilyo? We can just say
Boss, Yossi naman.
Yossi na.
Yossi brain.
Yossi naman, no. Something like that. We can adapt slowly. It's really finding the right words into the script.
I think the problem is they don't do localizing, they do translation a lot. Because there's a difference between translation and localizing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please specify.
Okay.
Please
Actually,
elaborate.
there's someone on the internet again mentioned this. And I highly suggest you watch that video. I'm gonna link it.
愛と正義のセーラー服美少女戦士セーラームーン月に変わってお仕置きよ愛と正義のセーラー服美少女戦士セーラームーン
someone did specify, those angry keyboard warriors. Why not just translate to the original language and then? Well, actually, she's an ADR writer, and she pointed out on Twitter, "Oh, you want me to translate it in the original language? It's like saying in English, this is not fun. In Japanese, Tanoshi janayo. Literal translation, fun this is not." You want us to talk like that? Or, "Hi, I'm Giselle. Konnichiwa, Giselle desu." It's just in word pervert translation. "Hi, Giselle I am."
And konnichiwa has many meanings.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes. That's translating, but localizing. You know, the notorious Pokemon dub that got us confused in childhood when Brock says,
These donuts are great. Jelly filled are my favorite.
and us being Asian, is that a donut? That's a rice ball.
Jelly donuts. How did that happen? I don't recall watching that.
I really remember that as a kid. Jelly donuts. And of course, we are exposed to Japanese culture. And of course, we're Asians. We know rice. We know what rice looks like.
Yeah.
And jelly donuts? I really, what? Who translated this? And that's localization. Localize is for culturally appropriate.
We can't translate onigiri, right? Or in English, it's easier because it's rice ball.
Kakanin,
Yeah,
guys.
Kakanin is the nearest. I mean, in all seriousness, kakanin is the nearest. Because if you say bolang kakanin,
Yeah.
it's weird, right?
Oh.
Right? It's kind of weird.
Yeah. But in general, I mean, the safest answer would be kakanin.
Yes.
Because anything that involves rice.
That is wrapped into something or is
Yes.
formed
Yeah.
into something.
Because in our, or we can
Binalot.
just call it puso. Because in Visayas, it's shaped like that.
Ah.
If people do the extensive research for localizing, we can. It would be nice.
It's just that the people who are in charge of that do not have enough time.
Again, another topic for another day.
There was a certain point in the English dub, like it's really cringe, because they'll just try to translate it. Then when they realize that they had to localize it, because in games they really localize it, so there's a difference. There's a certain market for it, for JRPGs, Japanese role-playing games. I guess with the conventions and stuff, you would notice it slowly on the demand that they would prefer. Because in the internet war, there's a famous subs versus dubs.
Dubs.
Yeah, so I think there was a movement already, an inner movement. Okay, guys, like we have to step up. I'm not saying that, let's say, if we make Tagalog dubs, I don't think other people would do the same, because it's really, one, like what you said, it's time consuming. Number two, there's extensive research, and number three, if we put everything into price, that's really expensive, because you did the research, you voiced, you directed, and everything, and so on, the acting. So how would you localize the acting as well? Because there's a different acting for the Philippines. You cannot just copy it or just maintain the sound.
Nah, I'm really turned off by Tagalog dub as a young child. That's why when going back to our first topic, what kind of Tagalog dubs you watch? I didn't watch any because
Maybe we're also outdated.
No, because
TV5 is releasing SpongeBob, and they pretty much got it spot on.
because if you
Tagalized
if
SpongeBob.
you study the market analysis of your consumers, let's say who's gonna watch SpongeBob in TV5, those are, let's say, the class C or class D. They wouldn't care as long as they're entertained, right? But the ones who has the money, class B, class A, they would get other resources because they're more aware, and it will trickle down. Because since they're not stepping up their level, their certain acting, it stays there. and we're not improving. So
But if the first, sige, you finish.
so what happens is, because they're not also mindful of what like what Giselle said, what the appropriate acting or localization and everything in short. There's no improvement in our dubbing. So anyway, go on, John. Sorry.
Because I was going to say that if the class A, and you're right that the class A and B do not notice Tagalog dub as much because the original is out there. And maybe it's our crab mentality, or because in media has been made so much more wide ranged because of the internet. But when we were kids, all we had was the TV. Well, when I was really young, all I had was the TV.
Sky Cable, so that's why I watch Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab. What else?
Exactly.
Based on my experience for the class A, well, the people that I've got, their opinion. My previous schools, it's really those people that has money. Just put it that way. They really listened to. They really give a chance. I think that's the good trait of Filipinos. We give people chances. And what happens is, it's just disappointing. All over again. There's a new anime that they like. There'll be another Tagalog dub, and it's very cringy. To the point that they'll just give up. Because what happens is, they'll just make fun of it. So they would quote unquote appreciate it rather than bashing it, right? Because I think it's in our culture, if we can't accept it, we just make fun of it. Just to
make memes out of it.
Yeah, just to save it. I think we're that kind.
We don't have cancel culture. We have make fun culture.
Make fun.
Yeah.
Self-deprecating comedy culture.
Like for example, like even just the audience in Yu Yu Hakusho, tapusin. Oh my god. You can just have screams, right? Why that? You're like, wow! Do you hear that in our stadium? Do you like, tapusin? Or Manny Pacquiao, tapusin. Right?